Okay, hello everyone. There are not so many of us, but thank you for coming. Anyway, so first I will introduce myself. My name is Anastasiya Soboleva. I'm a business system analyst of the Access company. I've been working for 10 years in product management in different positions, from junior to the head of the um, project. So, analyst might be a commutator between all the participants of a project team, including coordination and approval of requirements from different stakeholders, management of expectations of various stakeholders, management of changes, communication within the team with other teams, and the very important point is approval and coordination of the conditions of work and the salary with the management. As you know, everywhere where there are some negotiations, there are some conflicts of interest, and we should not only agree on something, but also to keep good relations and ensure long-lasting cooperation. Probably you've noticed that when you encounter the situation of conflict of interest, the first solution that comes to our mind is connected with our needs, risks. So we are talking about something that we need, but we normally don't think of something that other stakeholders need. And if there is a conflict of interest, we might understand that nobody would agree just to all your requirements. So the first option, what we can do is that we come to the negotiations, we suppress the opponent, we make them, force them to accept our proposal, but it will probably break the future relations. And the second option is that we can consider all the options that we have, taking into account the interest of other parties. And we can prepare to such negotiations in this way, so it looks quite attractive, more attractive at least. And how to prepare in this way? Well, that's exactly the topic of my presentation. So, in order to make it more clear, I will tell you about my case. It's a real case. It happened several years ago when I worked in development. So we had two teams working for the customer. So we made a system of remote customer service. And when one team was at the end of the project and the team B approached testing stage, the security team from the customer came and they said that you need to provide a qualified e-signature. That was a recommendation of ours at the beginning. So, and now you have to do that with the same budget during the same deadline. Otherwise, we will not approve of the task. But the customer said we cannot change the deadlines, the budget. So, and then we made a meeting of all the participants where we had to decide who does this during which time period and what will be the final concept of the decision, of the solution. So the situation looks quite bad because any of the teams, so somebody has to actually fulfill this, right? Somebody has to do that. We cannot just avoid it. So what shall we do in this case? How can we make these negotiations? And there can be a situation when the managers, they just prepare, they try to negotiate, but in some cases, analyst has to do that on his own. And the second point is that this task includes the requirement management, and actually, for the analyst, it's much easier to prepare to these negotiations in this aspect than for the manager. So, how shall we do that? Step one, first of all, I fill this table for all the participants, including all the stakeholders, which helps me to see all the details of this situation. So this is the result. You see a lot of text, but don't read that. It will be in the handouts, but in brief, I will explain to you what's going on. First of all, I understood that obviously it's very risky to take up this additional task, and the future system will destabilize the system with new bugs. And important point is that both teams working with the customer, but the team A only starts its cooperation, and as any vendor, it tries to increase its participation as much as possible and expand its account. And Team B have been working for a while already with this customer, but both, of course, are eager to keep the good relations and loyalty, etc. Security team, for them, this is connected with the regulator's requirement, but there is an open question whether it's obligatory to do it exactly in the way they ask for it. And also, the security team is not interested in the product itself. They are not beneficiary, they are not customer of the product. So the main task for them is to hedge their security risks so that there is no accident or something. So how to do that? Well, this issue is still open on behalf of the business stakeholders. So we found out that the strict requirement on the deadline is because of the purchased advertisement. There is a special contract for advertisement. They cannot change the deadlines. It will be during some time period, and they will not allow any concessions on that. So for them also, it's not important how the task is closed, how it's implemented. So next, what I do, I write down all the open questions that I have to clarify. Part of them can clarify in the meeting. For example, this regulators requirement. For example, is workaround possible? Can we manually implement this qualified signature task? Maybe the customers will meet face-to-face with the customer, sign the contracts, and continue working. Why not? It can be a solution for at least a short period and for the near future. And one more thing, I don't think we don't have, when we include the issues of costs, deadlines, budget in the task, it allows to see what options we have. Another point is that the personal availability. For example, Team A completed the task and can be reassigned to some other task. And also we can add some people to Team B, for example, and make them stronger, be able to resolve the new task. So then I formulate the negotiation positions on my behalf. So I actually was on the end of the Team B, I mean vendor of the customer. So I first of all elaborate my position. I consider which of the solutions will be more favorable to me, what can be the alternative way out from this situation if we won't agree on some better solution, and what is possible worst scenario, and we cannot go lower than that, for example. And when I define all that, I get a zone of possible agreement. Same I calculated for other stakeholders. Why? I might not guess 100% what they are up to, but I will see some options where we'll probably our intentions will overlap, and I will be more aware of what's going on during the negotiations. I get this table, it will be also in handouts. And here I will tell on behalf of the Team B how I see the situation, and on behalf of Team B what's possible. Yeah? From the point of view of implementation, this can be from the best solution, like we keep everything as is, and so the worst alternative is that we make a full-scale solution, and in this zone we may play with different resources. And for example, we can here talk about involvement of additional employees of our own, of Team A, and then there are zones of responsibility, who will be responsible for what. Best, of course, if everybody is responsible for their own results. The worst is that somebody takes up all the responsibility. Next, issue of additional budget and involvement of the security team. They can be involved for full-scale participation or just making some additional changes. There are some experts from the security team that come to team B and fulfill some of the subtasks. And also we can decide that we involve the team during some specific time or some specific experts from this team, and we will decide on some special issues. In the team A, we get into the area of into the zone of the prioritized decision. I mean that they won't be eager to change it just like that. Only if there is an extra budget, they will be eager to allocate the people and help the project. Same referred to the security team. So it will be based on the analysis whether the requirement is obligatory or not. Finally, we found out that there is no obligatory requirement that it has to be implemented, and we agreed on workaround. So from the point of view of resource allocation, so they wouldn't be interested. It's not their area of interest to fulfill the deadline, so that's why for them it's like that. So in business, for business stakeholders, it's only they only need to actually fulfill, implement. They don't care about anything else. So workaround is good for that. Regarding budget and allocation of staff, it's like staff depends on the budget, but in general for them it's important only to implement the task. So what we get, the first solution that springs to our mind is that both teams of development, for them it will be more beneficial to avoid participating in this task. The second solution that we got after analysis, we decided that Team B will have to take up this decision, and they have to just decide which resources it can take to resolve the situation, and also workaround might help for the situation. So what did I do? Which steps did I take to prepare? So first of all, I clarified the details, collected questions, formulated my position, and also forecasted the position of other participants. From my experience, I can judge that this experience helps to see more details, and there is a bigger bugging area where you can find compromise. And these agreements that we reach, they are more long-lasting because they cover the needs of other participants as well. So that's why these agreements come to be a kind of a guarantee of long-lasting cooperation. Sometimes it's not these big tables. It can be quite complex. So this solution is very good for these complex situations when there are many participants, many factors. But normally I use it also for simpler issues. Like, for example, the team has to decide how to make a feature and there is no design solution. So who does what? Okay, we make these tables, and during the negotiations, finally, we do it more efficiently and agree quite quickly, and everybody is aware of what he's going to do and what he will be responsible for. So that's basically it on my part. So we also have a slide with the references. These are 4 books, which are about how during the negotiations to defend your point, your position. And also there is another resource, which is Startup Man School, and I can say that I've received training there, and they make different events. It's school or master classes, etc. I can really recommend you to look at it, and thank you. Do you have any questions? So probably it was very clear, and as you have no questions. Startup Plan, that's the name of the school. Startup Plan, yeah, you just can. Startup Plan, the name of the school. You can Google it.
Значит, все понятно. Но я очень рада. Спасибо еще раз за внимание. Вот.
Okay, then thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can also write me in personal messages and in Telegram. I will be glad to communicate. Unfortunately, I cannot hear the person who asks a question because she doesn't use mic. Okay, this was a good question. Worst and the worst. Well, this is a situation when we are so different in the zone of possible compromise or bargaining. So we're so different that we cannot even form this zone of compromise. Well, there were situations that it was so much diverged our needs and that we really couldn't agree on something. But then the one who prepared better, who can really justify his position better, and then yeah. But you have to prepare to these negotiations, otherwise, yeah, it might not work. The person is not using the mic, so I cannot translate the question.
Почему? Можно, но то...
So if it's in the area of my responsibility, and I know this amounts, but so we can calculate, yeah. So and also I thought that it's worse and the worst. Then we play the win-loss game, and we just have to see whether we can win or lose in a way. It's part of our position in negotiations, but well, yeah, we can. That's information security department might also face his own requirements and conditions. But in this case, we couldn't do like that with the budget. The situation was that the security department had a carte blanche in terms of agreement on the result. So the problem was that they refused to make a decision, and until they make a decision, payment under the contract is not possible. So everybody was really motivated to go for concession and to resolve this somehow. But this can be part of our negotiation position. Okay, then let's get back to the previous option. Write me to the personal messages. Thank you for your attention. So there was only one question, and that's why I give the voucher for a t-shirt to this person.